about Donkey Kong?
Let's continue. So I assume most people, or at least those of you watching, know that the Mario series technically started with Donkey Kong. Probably should have started there to begin with, but it's too late now. So let's talk about this guy's life, or at least his lineage and legacy, and how we can tie it all neatly into the grander Mario world. 1981. You have a huge stock of a failed arcade game and a relatively untested artist. Combine them, and bam, you get Donkey Kong. Technically, the game that started it all and begins our journey. As far as stories go, it's pretty simple. Monkey steals woman. Man saves woman by climbing unfinished skyscraper. Get to the tippy top and commit animal abuse by dropping monkey on head. But we're not done yet. In 1994, a remake, and in case you forgot, I prioritize remakes, was released that expands upon this premise. Turns out DK, and now also his son, DK Jr., wakes up and drags the lady, Pauline, across the world. Eventually, they end up at a tower, presumably near the Mushroom Kingdom, as DK uses a super mushroom to grow in size. Mario defeats the Elder Kong and immediately grabs him for an awkward hostage photo. The Metro Kingdom from Mario Odyssey is heavily implied, though not outright stated, to be the city from the opening levels. Donkey Kong Jr. doesn't take kindly to this, and attempts to free his papa in his eponymous game. Mario just happened to leave all the keys to DK Sr.'s cage in this jungle, so it's not exactly hard to break him out. Donkey Kong 3, our first game without even a mention of Mario. Some dude named Stanley has a greenhouse. Donkey Kong hates that. At this point, DK Jr. came to the age where it was time to learn about math. Donkey Kong rewards Jr. with an apple for every correct answer. There's also a pink Jr. that the manual only labels as Junior the Second.
We don't talk about him anymore.
In '84, we got a couple of smaller games, like literally smaller. They were handheld Game & Watch games. Donkey Kong Circus documents more of Mario's animal cruelty, and Donkey Kong Hockey might do the same. It's hard to tell with that face, but it probably goes without saying apes shouldn't be playing field hockey. After this, it would be another 10 years before DK shows up in a new game, and by that point, it's not even the same Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong Country was an explosive return for the gorilla, and you may assume from a cursory glance that DK and Jr. have aged enough for Jr. to assume main character status. But you'd be wrong! Well, half wrong. That old is still the original Donkey Kong, but we've never actually seen this DK before. That's actually Junior's son and Cranky's grandson, with Junior nowhere to be seen. Anyway, New Coke DK has a big banana horde on his island, and he asks his spider monkey pal Diddy Kong to guard it. A militaristic faction of crocodiles, the Kremlings, decide to knock Diddy out and steal them. Because bananas are the perfect food. That's not me saying that, that's in the manual. And that is a fact. DK and his pal Diddy follow the trail of bananas all across the island. The island coincidentally shaped exactly like Donkey Kong III's head. Eventually, this banana trail leads them to the Kremling's leader, King K. Rool, and his pirate ship, the Gangplank Galleon. DK punches his way through his problems and gets his bananas back. 6 months later, we got Donkey Kong Land. While many assume this to be a simple port of Donkey Kong Country, this is actually a wholly new game with a different story. DK and Diddy, still nursing their wounds, are being criticized by Cranky Kong that their game only sold well because it had fancy graphics and music. Irritated by this, Donkey Kong says that they could do the same thing on the Game Boy with its one color. Cranky takes them up on it and just calls K. Rool up to steal the banana horde again. Now, Cranky broke the fourth wall a few times in the first game, but it was mostly inconsequential remarks about how things were better and simpler back when games only had one button. But this game's entire story hinges on the characters knowing they're part of a video game. So, canonically, what do fourth wall breaks mean? Well, in most cases, such as Cranky in the original DKC, the fourth wall is merely alluded to or leaned on in order to make a quick joke or comment. Sometimes the environment freezes, so a character can make a quick aside, or the character may be addressing the audience directly and other characters are completely clueless to the interaction. Usually, in these cases, if it is observed by others, it's treated as a weird non sequitur and dropped nearly immediately. In this case, however, the entire impetus of the story is a fourth wall break. Every character involved is aware of it, aware that they're just doing the same thing as last time, but on a less powerful console. Now, you could argue that this is simply an abstraction of what's actually happening, as really all narrative media works in abstractions, but that's another conversation altogether. Cranky could simply be imposing a challenge of finding the banana horde again. All of his asides could really just be him yearning for his youth in other ways. The kids have it easy not because their world is 16-bit, but because of the actual advancements of society. It almost makes you think that trying to find narrative cohesion and canonical structure to a video game franchise spanning 40 years made for children is a fruitless task. Hey, speaking of fourth wall breaks, can you do something about that gorilla?
Yeah, okay.
Cool, thank you.
Hey, isn't this meta stuff kind of played out?
Whatever the metafictional case is, DK beat Croc at Banana. Big Ape City from this game is also implied to be the location of the original Donkey Kong arcade game, although Odyssey's explanation would retcon this. Later that year, Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Kong Quest released. K. Rool, now demoted to Captain K. Rool, once again decides he needs DK's bananas. So he simply scoops up the Great Ape himself and holds him ransom. Diddy and his girlfriend Dixie volunteer to go out and save him on the nearby Crocodile Isle. Is this sea just full of islands shaped like animals? Is it near Delfino? They chase K. Rool up to his airship, free DK, and knock the captain down into the sea below. However, he flees to a secret underground lost world beneath the Crocodile Island, where the Kongs must beat him one more time. K. Rool ends up falling into this strange energy volcano that powers the entire Crocodile Island. He blocks the flow and causes the volcano to explode, bringing the entire island down with it. As the captain flees on a small raft, he vows revenge as the arms expert Funky Kong drops a bomb, sinking him. Another year later in Donkey Kong Land 2 releases, and while it isn't exactly a port, it's the exact same story as DKC2 with different levels, so nothing new here, we're free to move on. To Donkey Kong Country 3 Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. It's been an unspecified number of months since the last game when Dixie goes looking for DK and Diddy. Turns out they left a note saying they were going to explore the nearby islands. After waiting a full 3 days, she decides to actually go looking for them. Now I know this was the 90s and all, but you really shouldn't even wait 24 hours before filing a missing persons report. Just, Jesus Christ, Dixie. Anyway, she decides to swim all the way to the mainland, here labeled as the Northern Cremisphere, to follow their steps. While here, she asks DK's grandmother, Wrinkly, and Funky Kong for the pair's whereabouts. Neither one knows where they are, and Funky forces Dixie to take her cousin Kitty along with her on her search in what I can only assume is some sort of insurance ploy. I mean, look at him. You really expect this guy to survive a blunderbuss? Wrinkly also asks Dixie to look for these horrible creatures. While searching for the missing Kongs, the cousins run into even more Kremlings, this time under the leadership of Chaos. Oh wait, no, it's just K. Rool again. But this time, he's got a new alias, Baron K. Roolenstein. Turns out DK and Diddy were kidnapped to be used as a power source for Chaos. He also imprisoned the Banana Queen and ordered the Kremlings to hide all of her children. He was definitely doing us a favor hiding those things. After a long journey across the Northern Cremisphere and the lost world of Krematoa, Dixie and Kitty save the other Kongs and free the Banana Queen so she can drop an egg on K. Rool. Donkey Kong Land 3 followed just as the other two had. This time there's a contest to find the hidden lost world. No, not that lost world. Oh, not that one either. Donkey and Diddy begin searching for it and leave Dixie to babysit Kitty again. Dixie decides to try her luck in the contest and brings Kitty along to find it. And she does. Diddy Kong Racing released that same year. In fact, only a month later. The intergalactic space pig wizard Wizpig has taken over an island owned by tigers. I'm sorry, let me read that one. The intergalactic space pig wizard named Wizpig has taken over an island owned by tigers. The tiger family just happened to be out of town visiting the Kongs and left their son Timber in charge. Timber sent a letter asking Diddy for help, hoping to resolve the issue before his parents came back. Diddy brings along Dixie and her younger sister Tiny to help him out, but by racing. Once Wizpig is beaten, he goes back to his home planet, and luckily this lighthouse just happens to be a spaceship that can be used to chase him down. After beating him a second time, his ship malfunctions and he goes careening into a nearby planet. This is also another case where I'll be taking the remake as the canon interpretation. Instead of Dixie and Tiny as in the remake, the original included Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie and Conker prior to his appearance in Conker's Bad Fur Day. They were removed due to the developer Rare being purchased by Microsoft in 2002. In 1999, the final original Rare-developed DK game, Donkey Kong 64, was released. K. Rool, back in his King persona, has finished the construction of a weapon powerful enough to destroy the Kong's island, which, I mean, is only fair, right? To keep DK distracted, he once again steals the Banana Horde and kidnaps Diddy, Tiny, and newcomers Lanky and Kitty's older brother Chunky. While on the way to destroy the island, the Kremlings crash into a nearby island, causing the Blastomatic to malfunction. Now, DK must find a way to stop K. Rool before the Blastomatic is fixed. How? By collecting his 4 friends to collect their specifically colored bananas. 700 yellow bananas, 700 red bananas, 700 blue bananas, 700 green bananas, 700 purple bananas. Defeat a hippo and pig so they can beat a boss and collect 7 keys needed to unlock the giant 974 banana coins used to buy 5 instruments, 18 potions, and 5 guns. 40 blueprints of the Blastomatic to delay its fire. 40 banana medals to play collect a rare a Nintendo coin, one from playing the original company coins used for the final key. Film for your camera. 20 banana banana fairies that are captured on banana film with your banana camera to increase how many items you can collect, and 201 golden bananas to even be able to access the levels to collect all of these things. So what's all this for? Well, B-Locker, the sentient signpost, was put in place by K-Rool to block the entrances to each of the levels until the Kongs have enough golden bananas. The pig and hippo, Trough and Scoff, need to be fed regular bananas to weigh down the counterbalance to reach the key to the boss doors. The keys received by beating the bosses are used to unlock K-Lumsey's cage. Each key causes K-Lumsey to dance in excitement, causing earthquakes and opening paths to new levels. The final level, Hideout Helm, allows the Kongs to directly access the Blastomatic and disable it. While here, they can also find the final key to K-Lumsey's cage, and K-Rool flees into his airship. K-Lumsey, now free, trips and knocks the airship to the ground, opening it up for the Kongs to enter into a boxing match with King K-Rool. A boxing match they only win because King K-Rool gets distracted by gorilla tits. This game is great. The Gangplank Galleon can be found in the Gloomy Galleon level, complete with a portrait of K-Rool's pirate Sona, Captain K-Rool. Rare's purchase by Microsoft brought an end to the golden age of Donkey Kong, and what followed was kind of an experimental period. The first of which being Donkey Konga. DK finds some bongos and plays some tunes, like All the Small Things and the Hamtaro intro. The Mario vs. Donkey Kong games bring the two series back into contact with one another. Mario has decided to capitalize on his popularity and create a toy line in his likeness. DK becomes almost as bad as the Funko scalper and steals the toys right off the production line. Mario chases him around until DK realizes he's dropped all of his new toys. Everyone starts laughing at the big guy, so he decides to up the stakes to actual kidnapping and grabs a couple of Toad employees. Mario stops him again, and DK falls conveniently onto a delivery truck of more Mini Marios that he then steals and repeats the whole ordeal. Mario ends up feeling so sorry for him at the end that he just gives him a Mini Mario to take. Donkey Konga 2 came less than a year after the first one. This time Dixie joins DK and Diddy as they decide to go on a world tour blasting nothing but All-Star. Nintendo, wanting to keep some sort of cohesion to the DK series, created a platformer where you use the DK bongos as a controller. Surprisingly, it was great, although not much of a story. Basically, a bunch of other angrier Kongs have taken over the 16 fruit kingdoms of the jungle, and DK is pissed about that. It's just so angry. In DK King of Swing, K-Rool's ambitions have really taken a hit, so he just steals some medals that were going to be given out at the Jungle Jam Festival. Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2: MOTM. Apparently, the Mario toys were so successful as to get their own theme park, as well as branching out to mini DKs, Toads, and Peaches. Pauline from the original Donkey Kong is invited as the guest of honor for the ribbon cutting. DK becomes infatuated with his grandfather's old crush and offers her a Donkey Kong toy. When she snubs him for a mini Mario toy instead, he kidnaps her and takes her up to the roof. This building would never pass a fire inspection, as Mario must travel through each floor individually to get to the next elevator. Once he reaches the top, he finds Pauline is just chilling with a bunch of gifts, and Donkey Kong gets off scot-free because he's
Really sorry.
another DK spin-off with no story. Barrel Blast has the Kongs and Kremlings race against each other using modified barrel jetpacks. They go to space at the end. King of Swing got a sequel in 2007 named DK Jungle Climber. The Kongs head to San Island for some rest and relaxation. After working up an appetite, they spot a giant banana at the top of a mountain. Turns out it's actually a banana-shaped spaceship, because of course it is, owned by the alien Xananab. K-Rool robbed the alien of his 5 crystal bananas and a device called a Spyro Warp. The Spyro Warp is used to travel to different dimensions, like glass and toy, and also Xananab's home planet of Plantain. The crystal bananas also give people superpowers or something. I don't know, this game's also weird. DK follows K-Rool to Banana World, beats him, ties him up outside of the spaceship, and drags him back to Earth. This might be why King K-Rool hasn't appeared in any DK game since this. Okay, there's like 6 of these things, and they all have the exact same plot, so excuse me if I skimp on the details of one of the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, okay? But here they are. Mario vs. Donkey Kong Minis March Again happens. The theme park ran out of tickets, so DK does what any rational ape would do and goes right for the kidnapping, except actually it was all to test the Mini Mario toy model, I guess. Whatever, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. Moving on. Miniland Mayhem, same thing. First 100 customers to the new outdoor theme park get an exclusive Mini Pauline. DK needs it for his jar or something, but he ends up being 101st and obviously kidnaps Pauline again. Just ban him already, Jesus Christ. Mario stops the chase by enabling this behavior and just giving him a Mini Pauline. 14 years after the last Donkey Kong Country, the series returned with returns. The mountain on DK Isle erupts, spewing forth the Tiki Tak tribe. The Tikis hypnotize the island's animals to steal all of DK's bananas, because that's just what you do on Donkey Kong Island. DK travels all over his island attempting to recover his bananas, finally ending up in the giant Tiki Tower at the top. It turns out the Tikis actually had a use for the bananas. As the leader, Tiki Tong is able to turn his underlings into new hands. DK, being an ableist bigot, punishes the Tiki for this by punching the entire moon down on top of him. Mario's gonna be pissed about that.
Oh, no!
There's also a gold banana that teleports you to another dimension when you eat it. Just trying to get all the DK Island lore together. Following another huge success of the Miniland theme park, the Mario Toy Company has decided to host a mini toy carnival this year. Donkey Kong trademark will not be your foe this time around. He has teamed up with Pauline to run a game arcade called Mini Arcade within the Mini Toy Carnival. A vast array of attractions awaits you. Can you solve all the levels and overcome the mini games' challenges? It's hot in here. We got the follow-up to DKCR in 2014 with Tropical Freeze. Viking invaders, the Snowmads, show up to the DK Isle right on Donkey Kong's birthday. Their leader, Lord Frederick, blows an enchanted horn, summoning an enormous ice dragon that freezes the entire island and blows the Kong family off to the nearby Lost Mangroves Island. Donkey, Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky all make their way back to their home, beating Snowmads on the way. Once they defeat Lord Frederick, DK blows the same horn that summoned the dragon, unfreezing the island. The most recent DK games have both been Mario vs. Donkey Kong, so let's just blow through those. Tipping Stars, DK kidnaps Pauline under absolutely no pretenses. Oh, but surprise, it was a surprise party. Cool! You don't do that, Donkey Kong! You don't fake a kidnapping just to throw a surprise party! It's not a good look, Donkey Kong! Finally, we have Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge. I don't know why I'm including it, because they dropped DK from the title, but I just want to be done talking about these games, so here it is. They added Bowser, Bowjow, Diddy, Yoshi, Rosalina, and everyone's favorite Speck for people who are too poor to buy a real toy. Go out and purchase your future landfill trash, you peasants. Oh, whoops, you were too late. Well, that's all the Donkey Kong games. I'm saving a few for later, but that's all I have the patience for today. So, how does it fit with Super Mario Bros.? I think for the most part, things can be placed in release order. Super Mario Odyssey directly references the original arcade game, and the Game Boy port directly ties it to Super Mario Bros., so we know it's still canon. The Game & Watch games, Circus and Hockey, probably take place before the original or between it and DK Jr. By the time of the Country series, Mario, as has Yoshi, has gained enough clout to be labeled a video game hero by Cranky. Although I don't know if I should really count a minor fourth wall break as canon. But if I did and we're sticking to release dates, this was after World and before 64, so he has built up a bit of a resume at this point. We'll get to if Yoshi deserved this title later. Diddy Kong Racing could potentially take place after Donkey Kong 64, despite releasing a few years earlier. This is because of the remake's redesign of Tiny Kong, aging her up significantly. Also, one of the tanks from Mario 3 just shows up in Tropical Freeze. Maybe it's a prop from the play, or maybe it's from the real event, or maybe it's just a similar looking tank in a fruit juice factory. Who knows? Well, that about wraps it up for today. Hey, did you figure out the wraparound sketch?
Yeah, just walk outside.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching the second episode of Canon Welding. I want to make a few announcements, but first I just want to thank everybody for the reception to the first video. It kind of really blew me away, seeing everybody's responses and comments, and just really good vibes all around. So first announcement is I plan on starting to stream soon. I don't know whether it's going to be on here or on Twitch, or if I do stick to YouTube, if it'll be on this channel or another. But the plan for that is to kind of have a loose analytical kind of take on the games I talk about on the show, starting with Donkey Kong on the Game Boy and working my way through the Mario franchise. Probably not in chronological order, just kind of jumping around, but we'll see. And then I would also have my wife join and do maybe kind of like a combo art stream, see how that goes. But keep an eye out for that, and I'll figure out the details soon, like a schedule and everything, but yeah, I'm excited for that. Secondly, I want to keep making these videos and prefer to not have 3 months between uploads, so I've decided to start a Patreon, and you can find that down below. Right now, it's just a single $2 tier for getting your name in the credits. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you like to see from a Patreon page? What kind of tier rewards are you interested in? Is it behind the scenes, bloopers, maybe the unedited scripts, I don't know, Q&A, something. Just whatever you can think of, list it down below. I want to make sure it's something that is worth it for you guys and also for me. Yeah, I predict this is probably going to be something I'll need to play around with a bit, make sure the balance is right for both sides, make sure it's worth it for you and everything. So watch for more announcements on how I expand that as well. But yeah, again, thank you everybody for the amazing response to the first video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.